When life seems to be nudging you toward a certain direction, it often does so in subtle yet profound ways. Signs and coincidences start to appear, each carrying an almost whisper-like message from something far greater than yourself. You might not even notice them at first. They might feel insignificant, a fleeting thought, a passing reference, or a moment that you quickly dismiss as random. But when these signs begin to cluster, repeating themselves in patterns too deliberate to ignore, that's when you start to feel the pull. Imagine you're going about your day, doing your best to move forward, to focus on your tasks, yet their name or presence keeps cropping up in unexpected ways. A song on the radio brings back memories you thought you had set aside. A stranger mentions a phrase they used to say, or you keep seeing their favorite book, their favorite number, or the city they always dreamed of visiting. These aren't accidents. They're the threads of the universe weaving together, a reminder gently nudging you towards something you've tried to overlook. These coincidences are not just external, they echo within you. You might dream of this person unexpectedly, vivid dreams that feel almost real, as though they're happening in another dimension. You wake up with a feeling, a certainty that defies explanation, that this connection is not ordinary. The universe has a way of planting seeds in our consciousness through such moments, urging us to pause and reflect, to listen beyond the noise of our daily routines. And what's remarkable is how persistent these signs can be. They appear not once, not twice, but over and over again, until you're left with the undeniable sense that they mean something. Yet, isn't it interesting how, even then, we try to rationalize? It's just a coincidence, we tell ourselves. It's my mind playing tricks on me. But deep down, you know it's not just your imagination. There's a certain clarity in these moments that feels different from the fleeting randomness of other thoughts. It's as if the divine is saying, I see what you're trying to ignore, but I won't let you forget. Pay attention. What makes this experience even more profound is how it aligns with your internal world. It's not just about what you see or hear, it's about what you feel. Your heart starts to resonate with the signs, creating a harmony between what's outside and what's within. The connection feels alive, almost magnetic, drawing you closer even when you resist. And isn't that the very essence of divine communication? It speaks to you in a language that transcends logic, using the elements of your life as its words. But these signs and coincidences are not just reminders, they're also invitations. Invitations to trust, to lean into the mystery, to surrender your need for certainty and control. Because isn't that what we often crave? Certainty. We want guarantees, clear answers, and visible outcomes. But the divine rarely works that way. Instead, it gives you breadcrumbs, just enough to keep you moving, to keep you wondering, to keep you open. And this openness is where transformation begins. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of these signs is their subtlety. They don't shout or demand attention. They don't force their way into your life. Instead, they gently ask for your curiosity. They whisper, notice me. Think about this. Look deeper. And when you do, when you take the time to reflect, you start to see the bigger picture, the invisible hand that's been guiding you all along. And so, still, this journey isn't without its challenges. Sometimes the signs come at moments when you're trying to let go, when you're telling yourself it's time to move on. They can feel like a disruption, a reminder of something you'd rather leave behind. And yet they persist, not to torment you, but to guide you. They're not trying to hold you back, they're trying to lead you forward, towards something you may not yet fully understand. These signs are a call to trust the process, even when it feels uncertain or uncomfortable. Because trust is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. And if you listen closely, if you allow yourself to truly see, you'll find that the signs aren't random at all. They're deeply personal, tailored to you, designed to speak to your heart in a way that no one else could understand. They're proof that you are seen, that you are known, and that your path is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. So, next time you encounter one of these moments, a song, a number, a word, a dream, pause. Breathe, and instead of brushing it aside, lean into it. Let it remind you that the universe has a way of aligning itself in your favor, even when you can't yet see the full picture. The signs are there for a reason, and they won't stop until you listen. Perhaps, just perhaps, they're the divine's way of saying, this is not over yet. Stay open. And remember, the universe doesn't waste its whispers. Every sign has a purpose. Every moment carries meaning. The question is, are you willing to see? There are moments in life when you feel an unshakable restlessness, a stirring deep within your soul. It's not a discomfort you can easily explain, but it's there, persistent and undeniable. This restlessness doesn't arise out of boredom or dissatisfaction. It's something far more profound. It's as though the very core of your being is trying to tell you something, urging you to pay attention, to look inward, and to explore the uncharted territory of your emotions and experiences. This sense of unease often arises when you're standing at a crossroads, whether you recognize it or not. It's the universe's way of nudging you toward clarity, even though it may feel unsettling in the moment. You might find yourself questioning your feelings, your desires, and even your path forward. It's as if the divine is shaking the foundations of your certainty, not to harm you, but to make room for something greater. Because clarity rarely comes when we're comfortable. It arrives in the moments when we're willing to sit with our discomfort, to listen to what it's trying to teach us. You may notice that this restlessness has a peculiar way of surfacing when you're trying to move on, or when you're convinced that you've left someone or something behind. You tell yourself it's over, that you've closed that chapter, and yet there it is, that nagging feeling that refuses to let you rest. It's almost as if the universe is saying, not so fast. There's more here for you to uncover. And in those moments, you might feel frustrated, even angry, wondering why you can't seem to let go. But perhaps the real question isn't why you can't let go, it's why you're being asked to hold on. This restlessness is a signal, not a punishment. It's the soul's way of urging you to lean into the discomfort rather than run from it. And yes, leaning in can be scary. It requires you to confront the thoughts and emotions you'd rather bury, to face the questions you'd prefer to leave unanswered. But avoiding it only prolongs the unease. The more you resist, the louder it becomes. And so you're left with a choice. Do you continue to fight it, or do you surrender to its message? Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means opening yourself to the possibility that this restlessness is leading you somewhere important. It's an invitation to explore what's unresolved within you, to seek the deeper truth behind your feelings. Maybe it's guiding you to reevaluate a connection you thought you'd outgrown. Maybe it's showing you the parts of yourself that need healing, the wounds that are still tender, the dreams that you've tucked away in the corners of your heart. Whatever it is, the restlessness is a doorway, and the key to unlocking it is your willingness to step through. And here's the remarkable thing. When you embrace this process, you often discover that the restlessness isn't there to torment you, it's there to transform you. It's like the first stirrings of a seed breaking through the soil, reaching for the light. At first, it's messy and uncomfortable, but it's also necessary for growth. Without that initial disruption, the seed would never become what it's meant to be. In the same way, your restlessness is a sign that you're on the brink of something new, something meaningful. It's the universe's way of preparing you for a revelation, for a deeper understanding of yourself and your path. And yes, it might feel like a storm at times, but storms have a way of clearing the air, of washing away what no longer serves you, so you can see with fresh eyes. So when that restlessness creeps in, don't push it away. Don't try to numb it or silence it. Instead, sit with it. Ask it what it's trying to tell you. Listen to its whispers, even if they're faint at first. Trust that it's leading you somewhere important, even if you don't yet know where. And most of all, be patient with yourself. Clarity doesn't always come in a single moment. Sometimes it unfolds slowly, like the petals of a flower opening to the sun. And isn't that what makes the journey so beautiful? The not knowing, the unfolding, the discovery of something you didn't even realize you were seeking. The restlessness isn't a curse, it's a gift. It's a reminder that you're alive, that you're growing, that you're being guided towards something far greater than you could imagine. So let it guide you, let it shape you, let it lead you to the answers you've been searching for, even if they come in ways you didn't expect. Because in the end, it's not about finding certainty. It's about embracing the mystery, trusting the process, and allowing yourself to be transformed by it. And when you do, you'll find that the restlessness isn't something to fear, it's something to be grateful for. There are moments when we feel that everything in our lives has aligned perfectly, and yet there's something missing, a slight dissonance that we can't quite place. It's almost as if there's a bigger picture we're not seeing, a reason behind every seemingly insignificant event that we're meant to understand. And it's not uncommon for us to be confused or even frustrated by this sense of unease. After all, if things are supposed to fall into place, why doesn't it always feel that way? Why do we sometimes feel like we're walking through life with one foot in the past and the other in the future, and neither one fully in the present? This is where we begin to understand that life doesn't always reveal its purpose in an instant. Instead, it invites us to engage with the process of discovery, to allow things to unfold in their own time. The uncertainty we experience is often the very thing that nudges us toward a deeper understanding. It's as if the universe, or whatever you may choose to call it, has its own timeline, one that doesn't align with our desire for immediate answers, but one that is always moving us towards something more profound. When it comes to relationships, especially those that we feel deeply connected to, this sense of uncertainty can often feel more intense. The connection might be undeniable, but the timing feels off. Or perhaps the circumstances seem less than ideal, and you're left wondering, why does it feel so right yet so wrong at the same time? It's a paradox we don't always know how to resolve. But sometimes the confusion is not a sign that something is wrong. It's simply a sign that we are being prepared for something greater. When you find yourself in this state, where you feel deeply tied to someone yet find it hard to move forward, it's easy to become frustrated or even feel lost. You may ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Why can't I move on? It's in these moments that it becomes clear that the journey is not about rushing to the finish line, nor is it about forcing an outcome to appear just because we want it. The true purpose is in the tension, the space between where you are now and where you will be. And so if you find yourself facing this dissonance, it's essential to remember that God, or whatever force you believe in, has a way of guiding us through the most challenging and confusing times. There's a reason for this pause, this gap between what you feel and what you're experiencing. It's in this very gap that growth takes place. You see, growth never comes from comfort. It comes from the moments that stretch us, from the spaces where we feel lost and uncertain. If everything was simple, if we had all the answers, we would never learn the deeper lessons of life. It's in our confusion that we discover more about ourselves than we ever could in times of certainty. This might sound like a paradox, but think about it. The times when you've learned the most about your resilience, about your ability to love and forgive, have likely been in those moments when you weren't sure how things would turn out. It was in those moments that you found the strength to let go of your preconceived notions, to surrender your plans, and to allow life to unfold in its own mysterious way. In the context of relationships, this can be particularly powerful. When you feel an intense pull towards someone, when everything about the connection seems to resonate with your soul, yet everything around you is telling you to move in a different direction, that's when the magic happens. It's in the spaces between the certainty and uncertainty that you begin to an invitation to trust the process, to trust that things will unfold when they are meant to. In fact, it's in those moments of uncertainty that you are most likely being prepared for something deeper, something more lasting. The confusion is a call to action, urging you to stop trying to control the outcome and instead open yourself to what is. If you allow yourself to step out of the way, to release your grip on how things should be, you will make room for something more profound than you could ever imagine. The reason why you can't let go, why the strong feelings won't fade away, is because there's something important that you still need to learn about love, about yourself, and about how you are meant to connect with others. It's as if your soul knows there's more to uncover, and it's using this dissonance to help you grow. But growth doesn't always come in the form we expect. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels like a tug of war between what you want and what life is asking of you. Yet, this process of growth is necessary. And in the end, when you look back, you'll see that this time of uncertainty wasn't something to fear. It was simply the space you needed to evolve, to discover who you truly are, and to open yourself to the possibility of something more meaningful and authentic than you could have anticipated. So, when you find yourself in this state of confusion, when the questions swirl and the answers seem out of reach, remember that this is not the end of the story. It's just a chapter. A chapter that holds the lessons and revelations you need to become the person you are meant to be. And when the time is right, the fog will lift, the pieces will fall into place, and you will know exactly why you've had to walk through this uncertainty. The key is to trust that you are not lost, that you are exactly where you need to be. In the end, you will see that the confusion is just the beginning of something more profound. Trust in it, lean into it, and know that the clarity you seek will come when you least expect it. There's a certain beauty in the tension that arises when we experience feelings that seem to defy reason, when we cannot understand why we continue to be drawn toward a person despite the chaos, the confusion, and the mixed signals. This intense pull, this attraction that lingers, might feel like something that is holding you back, something you wish would just disappear so that you could move forward. But what if I told you that the very nature of that feeling is an invitation not to abandon what is pulling you toward that person, but to sit with it, to embrace it, and to let it reveal what it is truly trying to teach you. You see, what happens when we are deeply connected to someone is that the attraction we feel often transcends mere physical chemistry or fleeting emotions. It's something deeper, something that touches on the very essence of who we are and what we have yet to learn about ourselves. This attraction can be uncomfortable, yes, because it forces us to confront parts of ourselves that we may not be ready to see. It can force us to face the parts of us that are still healing, that are still searching for validation or understanding. But this discomfort, this push and pull, is not something to run away from. It's something that is meant to be fully experienced. In many cases, God uses these intense connections to reveal truths about ourselves that we would otherwise never acknowledge. These relationships are not just about coming together with another person. They are about understanding who we are as individuals and how we relate to the world around us. We often think that our feelings for someone are solely about them, about their qualities, their actions, and their presence in our lives. But the reality is that these relationships mirror something within us. The way we feel, the intensity of our emotions, the depth of our attachment, is a reflection of the internal landscape that we have yet to fully understand. The confusion you feel, the constant swirl of thoughts and emotions, is not a sign that you should run or shut yourself off from what you're experiencing. Instead, it's an invitation to examine why you feel what you feel. It's a chance to explore the deeper layers of your emotional self, to see what unresolved issues are being triggered, and to ask yourself why you are so deeply impacted by this person. This may sound uncomfortable, and at times it can be. But in truth, discomfort is a necessary catalyst for growth. Without the friction of uncertainty, we would never be able to break through the walls we've built around ourselves. The walls that protect us from vulnerability, from deep connection, and from truly seeing ourselves. It's important to remember that these strong emotions are not a curse, nor are they simply a test of patience. They are a means of evolution. They are meant to show you the areas of your heart and mind that are still seeking fulfillment, still yearning for answers. In this way, your connection with that person is actually guiding you toward a deeper understanding of yourself. Not just them. It is showing you where you need to grow, where you need to heal, and where you might still be clinging to old wounds that are preventing you from experiencing a more complete love, both for yourself and for others. But let's be honest, there's a fear that often comes with this kind of deep connection. It's a fear that we might lose ourselves in the process, that we might become so intertwined with another person that we forget who we are. We fear that we might become too dependent on the relationship, or that we might fall into patterns of neediness or insecurity. But the reality is, these fears exist because we haven't yet learned how to love without clinging, how to connect without losing ourselves. Why? And these relationships are the very ones that will teach us that skill. It's not easy, and it may take time, but through these intense emotional experiences, we learn how to stand firm in our own being, while still opening our hearts to others. When God allows these feelings to persist, when they don't fade away despite the confusion or doubt, it's because there's a deeper purpose to be uncovered. You're not being left to suffer. Rather, you are being given the opportunity to awaken to a deeper love and understanding. If you let go of the need for certainty, for everything to make sense right now, you will find that the relationship, whatever form it may take, will gradually lead you toward the person you are meant to become. And what about the times when you feel as though this person is just too much to handle, too complicated, or too frustrating? That is exactly the moment when you need to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? What am I being asked to learn? Often our struggles with others are reflections of our inner struggles, the ways in which we resist change or avoid facing uncomfortable truths. When we feel overwhelmed by another person's presence or behavior, it can be a mirror of the ways in which we are resisting growth within ourselves. It's easy to think that if we just had the clarity, if we could understand why things are the way they are, we could fix them. But the truth is, clarity comes not by forcing things into a neat, understandable box, but by trusting the process, by allowing ourselves to sit with the discomfort. Sometimes we just have to trust that the answers will come when we stop trying to control the situation. As difficult as it may be to accept, this kind of emotional turmoil is not something that will disappear until we have absorbed the lessons it's here to teach us. And until we learn to move through it, until we allow it to guide us, it will continue to surface, showing up in different ways, in different people, in different situations. God doesn't want you to remain stuck in confusion. He wants you to learn how to handle the feelings that arise, to become stronger, wiser, and more open. It's not about making the feelings go away. It's about letting them serve as your guide. So when those strong feelings arise again, don't resist them. Don't run from the tension or the confusion. Instead, lean into it, ask the questions, explore the answers. And as you do, you'll find that the answers you seek were never far away. They were just waiting for you to be ready to understand. The real transformation happens not when everything makes sense, but when you embrace the journey, confusion and awe. And that in itself is the lesson. The more you trust that this process is unfolding for your highest good, the clearer it will become, and you'll realize that everything happening in your life is leading you exactly where you need to be. When we are deeply entangled in the feelings we have for someone, particularly when those feelings seem unrelenting and complicated, it's easy to become consumed by doubt. We might ask ourselves, why can't I move on? Why do I still feel this way despite everything that's happened? There's a temptation, especially in moments of confusion or heartache, to view these emotions as a burden, something that needs to be fixed or eradicated. But what if these feelings, as difficult as they may seem, are not obstacles but rather guides, pushing us towards something far deeper than we initially realized? You see, when it feels like God is allowing these feelings to persist, even when they seem to defy all logic, it may be because they are meant to reveal something about us that we haven't yet come to understand. There's a truth here that is often difficult to accept. Sometimes we are holding on to these feelings because they are mirroring something we still need to learn about ourselves, about how we love, how we connect, and how we see ourselves in relation to others. Rather than trying to dismiss them, we must learn to pause, to sit with them, and to allow ourselves to explore why we feel the way we do. It's easy to assume that when we're in love with someone, or when we have strong feelings toward another person, those feelings are simply about them. We believe that the emotions are directly tied to the person in question. Perhaps it's their personality, their looks, their kindness, or some other quality that we're drawn to. But in reality, the feelings we have toward others are often a mirror of our own inner landscape, a reflection of the ways in which we relate to ourselves. This is why these feelings persist. God, in His wisdom, doesn't just let these emotions fade away without reason. He allows them to linger until we are ready to understand their deeper purpose. What do I mean by this? Consider that when we are drawn to someone, we may also be drawn to something within ourselves that we have yet to explore. Perhaps we are seeking validation, a sense of worthiness, or an expression of love that we have not yet fully given ourselves. Or maybe we are confronting aspects of our own vulnerability. These feelings are not just about the person we are attracted to. They are a reflection of how we view ourselves, how we allow ourselves to receive love, and how we open ourselves to the vulnerability of connection. This can be a challenging truth to face, because it means acknowledging that we are not passive in our relationships. We are active participants in our emotional worlds, and the feelings we have for others are shaped by the beliefs we hold about ourselves. If we struggle to let go, if we feel as though our attachment to a person is holding us back, we must ask ourselves, what is this attachment trying to teach us? What part of ourselves are we refusing to see or accept? And in this process, we must recognize that the answers do not come from trying to control or force the situation. The answers come when we are willing to sit with the discomfort, when we allow ourselves to experience our emotions without running from them or trying to change. When God keeps these feelings alive, He is not punishing us. He is not leaving us in a state of confusion or suffering. Instead, He is offering us an opportunity for growth. These emotions are the fertile soil in which our own transformation can take place. By leaning into them, by questioning them and being open to the lessons they bring, we begin to unlock deeper layers of our being, layers that we may not have been willing to face before. There is also something profoundly humbling about the nature of these feelings. They remind us that we are not in control of everything, that there are forces beyond our comprehension at play in our lives. We might like to think that we can dictate our own emotional state, that we can choose who we love and when we love them, but life doesn't always work that way. We are often drawn to people and situations that challenge us, that ask us to confront the parts of ourselves we'd rather not see. These intense emotional experiences are not random. They are part of a larger divine design that seeks to help us evolve into the fullest versions of ourselves. But as difficult as this process may be, it's important to recognize that the discomfort we experience is not a sign that we are doing something wrong. It's a sign that we are in the midst of something meaningful. The key is not to avoid the feelings, not to suppress them or rush past them. The key is to accept them as they are, to understand that they are here to guide us, to lead us toward a greater sense of wholeness. God allows these feelings to persist because they are helping us become more aware of who we really are, underneath all of the distractions, the fear, and the uncertainty. And in that moment, when we finally allow ourselves to stop resisting the pull of our emotions, we begin to see the bigger picture. We realize that the person we feel so strongly about is not the source of our happiness or our peace. That power lies within us, and it is through this process of allowing ourselves to feel deeply that we reconnect with the truth of who we are. In other words, the intensity of our feelings is not a sign that we need that person to be complete. It's a sign that we are in the process of learning how to complete ourselves. So when God allows these feelings to linger, it is not out of cruelty. It is not to torment us. It is because He knows that in the end we will come out stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to ourselves and to the love that flows through us. These feelings are not obstacles. They are the stepping stones on the path to understanding, to healing, and to becoming the person we are meant to be. And when you finally understand that, when you embrace these feelings rather than running from them, you'll find that everything else falls into place. The confusion fades. The attachment becomes less about the other person and more about your own journey. And in that moment, you will realize that you've been exactly where you needed to be all along. When we find ourselves in the midst of profound emotional turmoil, particularly when we feel tied to someone, whether that connection is romantic, platonic, or otherwise, it's easy to feel that the experience is somehow unnecessary, a trial that seems to persist without end. We might ask, why hasn't this changed? Why am I still here, stuck in this cycle of longing, of a desire, of intense feelings for a person who may not even feel the same way about me? There's a natural human tendency to want to force an end to this emotional tension, to look for a way out, to simply escape it. But what if I told you that this very experience, the one you're wishing would disappear, is part of a divine plan? What if the discomfort, the longing, the uncertainty is precisely what needs to happen in order for you to become the person you're meant to be? There is an essential truth that many of us fail to realize in the midst of our struggles. God isn't punishing us. He isn't waiting for us to break or fall apart. Rather, He is guiding us, leading us through a process of growth that we may not fully understand at the moment. These intense emotions, the ones that seem to grip us and refuse to let go, are not random. They are not a sign that we've failed or that we're doing something wrong. They are markers along a path, one that is leading us towards something greater than we can currently perceive. The journey is the destination. But the problem, of course, is that we often don't want to see it that way. We resist, we fight, we push against the very things that are shaping us. It's the human tendency to desire comfort, to want things to feel easy, to feel secure. But when we experience the opposite, when we are placed in situations that bring discomfort, pain, or uncertainty, we believe that something has gone wrong. This is where the disconnect happens. We assume that these strong feelings, the ones that bring us anxiety, frustration, or even heartbreak, are a sign that we are not on the right path. But in reality, they are often the most crucial part of it. When we ask, why are these feelings still here? Why haven't they gone away? The answer might be that they are here to reveal something, something about us that we have not yet understood, something about the way we view love, connection, and even ourselves. The way we hold on to someone, sometimes even when we know it's not the right situation, is often a reflection of our deeper need to understand our own desires, our own worth, and what we are truly seeking in a relationship. And it's often in the discomfort of unrequited love, or love that feels impossible, that we are forced to face our fears, our insecurities, and our deepest wounds. God doesn't allow these things to happen because he enjoys watching us suffer. He allows them because they are opportunities to heal. Every emotional experience, even the painful ones, is an invitation to go deeper into ourselves, to find out who we really are beyond the attachments, beyond the desires. It's not about the other person. It's about you. The emotions you feel towards someone are a mirror reflecting your own inner world, your own fears, your own desires for connection, intimacy, and love. And in that mirror, God is showing you parts of yourself that you have not yet fully acknowledged. He's guiding you toward self-awarenessness, toward growth. There's also an incredible paradox in this process. We often seek a resolution to these feelings, an end to the confusion, a clarity about the future. But sometimes the solution doesn't come through the resolution we seek. It comes through the process of learning to sit with the uncertainty, of allowing ourselves to simply feel without judgment or the need to change anything. When we let go of our need for certainty and embrace the mystery, we open ourselves up to deeper truths. God, in his wisdom, allows us to experience these feelings because they are the very thing that will teach us what we need to learn. The solution is not always an external one. It's an internal transformation. And in the end, what if you were to realize that everything you're going through, all of this intensity, all of this emotional confusion, is precisely what's necessary to bring you closer to who you're meant to be? What if the longing you feel, the struggle you endure, is not a sign of weakness or failure, but a necessary part of your spiritual and emotional growth? What if, instead of trying to escape the feelings, you embraced them as your guide? The challenge, the discomfort, the uncertainty, they are all part of God's design to bring you into alignment with the love you are meant to receive and the person you are meant to become. We don't always understand it in the moment. We don't always know why certain people come into our lives or why we feel so strongly toward them. But when we look back, we often see the intricate ways in which every emotion, every interaction, every twist in the journey was part of the process of leading us toward wholeness. We are not just learning about the people we love, and in that process, God is shaping us, refining us, and preparing us for something greater than we can currently comprehend. So, when you find yourself asking, why haven't these feelings gone away? Why haven't I moved on? Understand that God is not leaving you in a place of confusion to punish you. He is allowing you to stay there because there is something you need to discover. Trust the process, allow the feelings to reveal what they must, and in time, you will see that these emotions were never obstacles to your peace. They were, in fact, the very means by which you were being guided toward it. Embrace it all, for it is all part of the divine plan. And when you look back, you'll realize that it wasn't the other person you needed, it was the journey and everything it taught you about yourself.